If you want to show subcategories on your report card, you can use subgrades or standards or both. Report cards that use subgrades and standards look identical. This one uses subgrades and this one uses standards. And while there's a lot of similarities, there are some differences too. This video will show you the features of each so you can decide which one is right for you. First, you'll see what's in common, and then you will see what is unique. Afterwards, you will know which one is best for you. Keep in mind, subgrades and standards don't have to be implemented school-wide. It could be just for certain grade levels or certain classrooms. If you only need them for kindergarten and first grade math and reading, you could do that. In both cases, the overall grade and subcategory grades can use any scale you want. As an example, here is a mastery scale where 4 is mastering and 1 is not mastered. And here is a grading scale that most teachers are familiar with. As you can see, this student has done pretty well these 4 quarters. And depending upon your preference, you can use the same grade scale for the overall score as you do for the subcategories. In this example, we have an A through F scale. And here we have an A through F scale for the overall grade, and then use a mastery scale for the subcategories. You could also use a percentage for the overall grade with a mastery-based scale below. And here, and we all remember this, we have an elementary scale with check marks determining proficiency, plus signs for mastery, and minus signs for something that needs more work. I think you get the idea. There are many options you can use, so you simply have to choose what system is going to work best for you. Any symbol can be used to show which standards or topics were not yet assessed. NA, a slash, an X, a blank, or even a grayed out box. When using subgrades, these marks are manually entered by the teacher. With standards, they're automatically added by the system. With both options, you can hide the overall grade altogether. The text of the subcategories is also fully customizable. With subgrades, the content is manually typed, whereas with standards, the content can be imported from a library of standards. You can import diocesan standards, state standards, or national standards. Once again, it all depends on your needs, and it only takes a few minutes to do. In both cases, the overall grade from the class could appear on the transcript. It doesn't have to. And just as other classes, the class can count towards a student's GPA, and credits can appear on a student's transcript. But only the overall grade would appear on the transcript, not the subcategories. Once again, these are all options you can use or decide to shelve at the moment. Lastly, just as other classes in GradeLink, each class can count towards a student's graduation requirements, which show on a student's transcript. Next, we will see what is unique about standards. The main difference between standards and subgrades is the process teachers take to get the final score on the report card or transcript. This applies to the overall score and the subcategories. With subgrades, teachers enter the final scores directly and once at the end of each term. These scores are not automatically calculated from the gradebook. The score appears on the report card just as they entered it. The overall grade can be entered in 2 ways. First, just like subgrades, teachers can enter the final score manually at the end of the term. As you can see, this method is not using a traditional gradebook where assignments are being averaged together. In this case, teachers literally enter the final grade once per term, just as they want it to appear on the report card. This is a great solution for early childhood and grading soft skills such as work habits and behavior, since tracking graded assignments typically isn't used in these groups. The second option is to connect the overall grade with a traditional grade sheet. In this case, the final grade is automatically averaged and automatically appears on the report card and transcript. Now we'll see what is unique with standards. The flagship feature of standards is its data-driven nature. Whereas with subgrades, scores are manually entered, with standards, there's a lot more automation. First, Teachers link standards with individual assignments in the grade sheet. Next, grades from the assignments are used to automatically fill in the related subcategories on the report card. Last, the overall score, if shown, is automatically calculated based on the subcategory scores. Those are the primary features of standards, and next I will show you some of the minor features. First, teachers can enter scores as mastery, percentages, or points on the grade sheet. The report card and student and parent portal can hide the percentage score so that only the mastery score or point score is available. Second, subcategories can have subcategories, which can have individual standards with IDs for each. Most parents would be overwhelmed with this much data, which is why you have the option to only show the top level subcategories on the report card. Meanwhile, teachers still have the ability to see the subcategories and individual standards with IDs. In contrast, with subgrades, the teacher view is identical to the report card view. Teachers don't see any additional subcategories not shown on the report card. The last unique feature of standards is that teachers can connect individual standards to their lessons. All standards associated with a class become available to the teacher in their lesson planner. This allows teachers to link individual standards to their lesson plans in just a few seconds. This is really helpful for early childhood educators who don't use a traditional gradebook to assess student learning, but they still want to track standards and have a record of what they have taught. Important to note, when tracking standards on a lesson plan, we're not tracking a student's mastery of the standard. We are tracking whether the teacher has taught the standard. When tracking standards in a gradebook, we are tracking both student mastery and if the standard was taught. When tracking standards in a gradebook, there's also a great report for administrators and teachers to get a bird's eye view of standards at their school. The report shows standards met per teacher and per class. Essentially, if the school year is halfway through, the green bars should be about halfway through. By the end of the school year, the bars should be all green if you've met all the standards. And you can get a more detailed view about the standards by clicking into each subject. This will let you see all of the standards for that particular class. Of course, the standards are grouped by category and subcategories. You can easily see which standards have been met and which are still in progress. For those familiar with researcher Robert J. Marzano, you'll be happy to know that the Marzano topics are available within GradeLink. When added to a report card, existing standards are reorganized under Marzano topics. This lets you choose if Marzano topics appear on the report card or if they only affect the teacher view. Lastly, something strange but true is that you can combine both standards and subgrades on a single class at the same time. If you want to learn more about that, go ahead and click on the link in the description. I hope this video has helped you decide if standards or subgrades is right for you. If you would like to implement either, please use the links in the description below.